All right, it's pretty much after midnight tonight, April 2nd, 2017. The whole April Fool's Day thing kind of went over my head. Most of that I wasn't looking at social media was the Sabbath. I don't do it on the Sabbath. And today I picked a topic just because I've been a little out of the loop with the news specifically, and it's something that I've been reading about, and it's a weird thing that's going on. It's called MGTOW, men going their own way. And I think that it's bad news for a certain portion of society. And by that portion, I mean feminists and women in general. And I do believe that this MGTOW movement, which I don't really have any opinion on for or against, I could see certain arguments for what they're talking about. But I'll discuss it very briefly. They have this certain 4-level accomplishment scale where, the first level is to accept that gender equality is bullshit, and then to renounce all romantic relationships with women, and then after that to renounce all sexual encounters just in order to get, and I'm not, whatever. So their whole thing is that they don't believe in chivalry, they don't believe in doing any, they're basically a misogynist movement, like actively misogynist. And the real question is, how is it that something like this actually came about? I think the people to blame are the feminists, obviously. The problem is that people don't realize that as an individual, you should be able to like and dislike whatever the fuck you want. And the feminist movement has started all these bullshit causes that have nothing to do with improving anybody's life. In fact, all they do is they make people more limited in what they can express and what they can just think about even. They want people to basically be robots that do everything correctly in terms of culture and social justice and all that bullshit. And one day I'll probably do a video just on how ridiculous of a concept social justice is. And I was just watching this retarded video, probably one of the dumbest videos I've seen, and it's disappointing because the person who filmed it was Mayim Bialik, who, if you don't know, she's Israeli-American actress. She's in Big Bang Theory. I think she's the main love interest for Sheldon, who's played by a gay guy anyway. And it's really one of the dumbest things that you could demand of somebody. She wants people to stop calling women girls. Like, if you have a woman who's over the age of 18, you shouldn't be able to call her a girl. And she says that, wrongly, she says that nobody calls adult men boys ever. And this, first of all, I see that happen all the time, that you'll see a group of dudes and you'll be like, hey boys, come over here. We got the, the boxing fight on or whatever. You'll see, it's ridiculous. It's one of the dumbest. There's a show on called Trailer Park Boys. None of the people in there is under the age of 18. It's some of the dumbest demands that you could actually ever give on society as a whole. And what's her reasoning? That it diminishes women in order to make them seem to be on the bottom in relation to men. And my position has always been this. The two sexes, they always want to say gender nowadays. When I was, I don't remember the word gender being that common when I was growing up anyway. It became more common when women were trying to go and blur the distinctions between men and women in the workplace and in politics and whatever. And, they were trying to make it seem like gender is more of an identity issue as opposed to an anatomy and biology issue. And I think that's where it started going wrong. I've seen videos of Christina Hoff Sommers this woman who was known as Based Mom, or I think it's just Based Mom. I'm not a gamer, and she was one of these feminists who did support the gamers during the Gamergate. And what these women did, sorry, I'm holding this $50. It's just, just a little trinket I carry around. These feminists have gone and it's almost like if you were going to attack another country. That shows how poorly they are at strategic thinking. The majority of feminists. I'm not saying the majority of women. I'm saying the majority of feminists. Their strategy is so flawed that they will go and pick a fight with a community of people, gamers, that have nothing more to do than sit around and call each other faggots and sons of bitches and little pieces of shit and cunts and whatever. That's all they do. You can listen to. I mean, I don't know much about gaming, but the few gamers that I know will spend all day just trash talking each other, demeaning each other, questioning each other's manhood. Oh crap! I have a scab on my leg. It's just bad strategic thinking, and then what they ended up doing was they burnt their own village. The feminists. I'm kind of using stupid strategy game terminology here, but basically what they did was they attacked something that has no value to them, the gaming community, as sexist and bigoted, and they ended up becoming the targets of one of the greatest popular waves of objection that you could possibly imagine. And I don't think this is the greatest issue that's happening in the world today. It's obvious that feminism is, in the Western world, is a movement that's eating itself alive. It's destroying itself. The first problem is that women they have the best situation in the world if you live in any of the countries, not in the Muslim world, obviously. In some of these other East Asian countries, for example, you can still be killed at birth for being a woman sometimes because they need a male child in order to take care of the family. So, and India too, by the way, the selective abortion is huge in countries like India. It's well known. I could bring the study. It's by I forget his name. It escapes me, but he's a world-renowned sociologist. And those are cultures that in America, these liberal bitches always think of as more enlightened, and that they have wisdoms that we need to understand, and that we should stop thinking patriarchally and whatever. Those countries are patriarchies too, India and China. Probably even worse than here. I was saying earlier, I'm not going to go too long here. I'm trying to keep all my videos under 15 minutes and also under a half hour, because now I'm trying to use VidMe more as a backup to YouTube. I don't know if I don't have as much effect as most YouTubers. I don't have a big audience, but in the future, I don't know if YouTube is going to be a viable platform. But let me continue. We have an issue where this past year, the feminist movement hitched its stupid, rundown, rusty trailer to one of the worst, rundown, rickety, ratchet trucks you could, which was the Hillary Clinton campaign, and they lost big. And they're still hitching the ride to basically a truck that's had all its tires blown out. The Clintons are still talking as if anybody should really use them as an authority on anything. This past week, Hillary Clinton, she spoke out about the April Ryan spat with Sean Spicer, and about the Maxine Waters-Bill O'Reilly feud. And those were both things where it was nothing to do with substance. It was nothing to do with policy. She was basically attacking two men for giving, derisive comments towards women. You know what? Hillary Clinton's been demeaning women her entire career. I have an entire library, as you know, of books about the Clintons. and I've been reviewing every book, and it's clear to me from every single perspective, Hillary Clinton has a horrible way of treating other women. So for her to go and be the standard bearer for the feminist movement, it's a huge problem for them. And I think Hillary Clinton and Nancy Pelosi and all these other pawns. I was just watching this small clip on Real Clear Politics of the Real Time with Bill Maher, where Neera Tanden was on. Neera Tanden, if you don't know, was one of the DNC and Clinton super PAC chiefs during the election, and she starts whining again about the fucking hair and all that shit. And it's the same thing. You're gonna that's the phrase they use nowadays. Is this the hill you're gonna die on? Are you gonna die on a hill relating to Maxine Waters' hair? This woman who's one of the worst, most incompetent, idiotic, incoherent, illiterate people in Congress today. Is that what you're going to use as your standard bearer? And Nancy Pelosi going on TV today saying that she believes that the Russians are blackmailing Donald Trump for something. What it is, she has no clue, and she wants to know. And that's why she wants an independent investigation. You should know, though, that you don't bring independent investigations for things that you don't even know what they are. Okay, that's the same as this issue where there's a suspicion that they ordered a wiretap of Donald Trump with no probable cause for any known crime. And it's a huge issue. And what I'm saying here, this MGTOW, this counter movement of these men, who I think it's still a little weird. I don't know if I could really ever support or certain. I don't think I'm going to be a part of it, but to each his own. And this is really to each his own what they believe. I'll put the article on from the Independent, which kind of laughs at it, even though they should probably be worried about it. It really does mean to each his own. It means fuck everybody else. I'm just gonna use my, I don't think I could get totally on board with it, because every once in a while you need help from other people, including women. There's a lot of great women that I know. My aunt, for example, my mom, God rest her soul, was great, even though she was very, her and my dad did not get along at all. They hated each other. But anyway, this MGTOW, it's showing that in the future, women are going to need, mark my words, they're going to need a counter-feminist movement. They're going to need something, and I'm not saying it's going to make the movement should not be in order to have women go back to being fucking living in the house with their barefoot pregnant with a PhD or whatever. That's a slogan that this friend of mine uses. What it should be is making up for all the stupid ground that has been lost by trusting these retarded women like Gloria Steinem and Nancy Pelosi and Hillary Clinton, and you could go on and on. Lena Dunham, you have Mayim Bialik. You're all fucking retarded. There's nobody who really cares about changing the world is going to listen to these idiots. And I think that pretty soon we're going to see the ramifications of this. There already is sort of this, MGTOW is one of those movements. It's a counter movement. It always happens. It happens in everything. The stupid hippie movement was the counter movement for that was punk rock. When punk rock fizzled out, it was new wave. When new wave fizzled out, you had what the fuck did you have? Well, eventually we got to grunge, which was against metal. Okay, gangster rap fizzled out. We had that awful Ja Rule era that killed it. We ended up getting Outkast, alt rap, stuff like that. It was everything. Once you go too far, somebody's going to turn against you. It's just the way it is. You have to stay consistent and focus on the things that are more important. And that's not what feminism does. And this MGTOW, if they don't be careful, that something will happen with them too. There will be a counter movement of men who want to get back into it's inevitable. It's weird. I just have to say it's weird. Anyway, we're gonna see what happens with that. I wanted to do a little change of pace today. You should know that I am going to be doing, just like I said earlier, more videos for VidMe. Pretty much all my videos are going to be copied onto VidMe. You can follow Bold Like a Leopard on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Chef Leopard, at Chef Leopard on Twitter, Bold Like a Leopard on YouTube, struttingleopard.blogspot.com for the blog. I should be doing a few more blogs in the near future. And then there's Chef Leopard on VidMe, and I'm going to be on Minds.com too. This is Ramon with Bold Like a Leopard, and we'll see you around the bend.